Zap's a king. Zap thing. And the Bitcoin Amigos Friday stream. Energy high, it's like a dream. Music pumps the price higher. Chris, Jordan, Jerry inspire. It's Fat Zap Friday. You might zap less on any other day, but today is Fat Zap Friday. Yeah. Real fat zaps coming in hot, spreading the love, hitting the spot. Yeah. Fat Zap Friday. Yeah. Community loves to show their support, hype in the chat like it's a sport. Friday stream turned up to 10. Fat lightning strikes again and again. Fat Zap Friday. You might zap less on any other day, but today is Fat Zap Friday. Yeah. Real fat zaps coming in hot, spreading the love, hitting the spot. Yeah. Fat Zap Friday. Yeah. Lightning from your fingertips, like a kiss from orange lips. Zap's a king, it's Zap's a king. It's a zap thing. Yeah, it's Fat Zap Friday. You might zap less on any other day, but today is Fat Zap Friday. Yeah. Real fat zaps coming in hot, spreading the love, hitting the spot. Yeah, Fat Zap Friday. Yeah. Zap's a king. It's a zap thing. Zap's a king. Zap's a king. Zap's a king. It's a zap thing. Zap's a king. It's a zap thing. Zap's a king. Zap's a king. It's a zap thing. Yeah. Zap's king.
Oh, what a transition there. DJ, I feel like a DJ here. Hello out there. We're on the air. I think we are anyways. Everything seems to be working. Fat Zap Friday. Oh, we got a couple Fat Zaps so far on Zap Stream. Hold on. Let's get through things here. Letha, 4,200 sats to start the show today. Fat Zap Friday. Says you might zap less on any other day, but today is Fat Zap Friday. What's going on here? I feel out of screen. Anyways, good morning. Happy Friday, everybody. Ginger, let's get some comments here going. Ginger Killer, good morning, living the future. Renita, our newest Bitcoin Journeyman, good morning. Forge Carbon, good morning. Clean Your Machine. Day 3, that's right. Day 3 of 365 days of Bitcoin. Day 1 was about what? Lightning wallets. Getting you started. Getting you going. I feel like when people first get into Bitcoin, I used to send them to like an exchange or a platform like Bitcoin Well, Bull Bitcoin, ShakePay. But like then their first experience with Bitcoin is putting a bunch of their government ID into the system just so they can exchange their money for some other money. It doesn't really make any sense. So I think that we should be actually leading people with like a non-KYC option, like a Lightning wallet first. So that's what I had people do on the 365 days of Bitcoin. Start with a Lightning wallet. I'll send you some sats. You don't have to put in your ID, your name, your phone number, anything. You just open up a wallet, you get some sats. I think that's the best way to do it. I could be wrong, of course, but hold on here. We need a little bit of light, I think. Let there be light in this house. Let there be light. Oh. Okay. Well, we have to start the show today with the fattest zap in the show's history. And it actually happened during a replay. So I do the live show here every day, 9 a.m. Eastern time, as you all know, or most people know anyways. If you don't know that and you're new to the chat, welcome. But do it every day at 9 in the morning, Eastern time, 8 a.m. my time. And I started replaying the shows in the afternoon for the people who can't make it in the morning. So we replay the show in the afternoon. I just kind of hang out in the chat. If there's any questions in there, any comments, I usually address them if I can, if I'm around. But anyways, yesterday we got the fattest zap in Bitcoin Journey history. 60,000 sats. 60,000 sats from our good friend Bit Billy. So I don't know, will we ever do better than that? I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. But for now, the record stands. The record is 60,000 sats, the fattest zap in history. So thank you, Bit Billy. That was made my day and beyond, and very much appreciated. I don't know if you're watching this morning or not, but thank you for that. Timber Crasher. Good morning, Bitcoiners. Good morning, Letha. Good morning, Retro Beaver. Tom, Rick, Birthday Man. Smash that like button. That's a good call, Rick. Okay, let's check out Rumble too. Anybody on Rumble this morning? We got a couple people in Zap Stream. I forgot to tweet it or to post it. All right, and today was day 2 of my new red light mornings. The start the day. I like it. It feels like I'm on a beach. Will it do anything? I don't know. I think it will. But we're going to give it a shot anyways, and I've been enjoying it. So we got a couple people over in Rumble. Good morning, Rumble. If you're in the chat, say hello. If you want to, of course. Everything here is completely voluntary, as we know. And that was something I talked about yesterday on the Bitcoin Generations show that we did. We did the first one yesterday. It was I wouldn't say it was a scramble, but it was the closest thing to a scramble. Bodie couldn't get his live stream going. And can I even find it here? Yeah, here we go. I'm going to paste this in the comments today. I'm going to share the link here right now. And I highly encourage everybody to go check out the episode yesterday for one, but also go subscribe to the channel if you want to. Of course, again, everything's voluntary. If you'd be interested, the way that I'm going to kind of explain this channel or this show that we're doing every week is, hold on, let me get the link for you here. Make it really easy for you. But the way that I would explain this is like we started doing the show here just over a year ago now. And so when I started the show, I started off as if everybody was kind of starting at the same spot in the Bitcoin journey. So we started with a lot of like basic concept, explaining some things, going through some things, learning things myself. And we've kind of evolved in the last year and a half. We've kind of evolved with everybody here in the audience and the people who are here every day. So we're not as focused on like the basics, the first principles aspects of Bitcoin. This is a little bit more like news, different thought experiments, different ideas, and kind of more advanced stuff within Bitcoin. That's what the Bitcoin journey is today. It wasn't always that way, but that's how it is today. But the Bitcoin generations, I would say, is going to be geared towards the older generation, the baby boomers, but it's also starting from scratch, pretty much. So if you are somebody who's just newer to Bitcoin, we're kind of going to start, and as we did yesterday, we're going to start at day 1, pretty much. And so if you're just kind of getting your feet underneath you in Bitcoin, I think that this is a really good start for you. So check out Bitcoin Generations. The show is actually on my channel from yesterday. We streamed it live from this channel yesterday, but I threw it in the chat there. So make sure you go over there today. Take a couple seconds here this morning if you want to, and go subscribe to Bitcoin Generation so you don't miss any of those shows. But the point of that was what I was saying yesterday, is that the beautiful thing about Bitcoin and this whole ecosystem is that it's completely voluntary. with the old system, with the traditional fiat system that we're used to, it's very forced. You know, if you don't use their money, if you don't pay your taxes, if you don't do what they say, they throw you in jail. With Bitcoin, you can just show up when you want to. You can learn as much as you want to. It's all completely voluntary. You can join the network when you want to. And even with the show, like no one's paying you to be here. No one's forcing you to be here. You're just here because you want to learn. You want to better yourself, and you want a better and brighter future for your family, for your generations. So it was a fun show. I think me and Bodie are going to have a lot of fun with that, help a lot of people. And I love it. Hey, Paul, $10 super chat. Start the morning today. Thank you for all your wonderful Bitcoin content. Thank you, Paul. It is Friday, so we'll be seeing lots of Paul today. Hopefully he's going to join us for the Bitcoin Amigo show this afternoon. So we got a lot of different things going on right now. The Daily Show, the Bitcoin Generations, the Bitcoin Amigos. But it's important. I think that we're at a very crucial point in history here. And it's important that we get, you know, as many little guys, as many average Joes like you and me involved in this. Because this opportunity is not going to be around forever. Kev says, nacho cheese, nacho cheese. Yeah, it is. It's what is it, private key day today or something? I know it's the anniversary of the very first Bitcoin block, which we'll talk about in a little while here. But I think it's also National Key Day, and not like the swingers kind of key, but like the private key. Good morning, Kev. Good morning, Buck 52,000. I'll check on the Zap stream. Pretty quiet in there today. Rumble's pretty quiet. Everybody's pretty shy on this Friday here today, but that's okay. That's why I'm here. I'm the one doing the talking. All right, we got Peter. Well, that's a wild name. I think that's Peter. I've never seen it spelt that way, but that makes the most sense. I don't think it's Piotr. Peter says, hola, what steel titanium seed backup can you recommend? Ooh, that's a good question. Well, you got a couple options. There's some simple ones. There's some more difficult ones. And there is, let me find it for you. Let me bring it up. Let me bring it up here for you. So if you are going to be putting it on steel, the one thing I'd say here before we go any further is that for those who are just kind of getting into Bitcoin, or you know, just fairly new to Bitcoin, kind of the progression here that I see for people is like when you get your first wallet, you got to write down your 12 keys. That's fine. Just make sure you put it in a very safe place. And actually, I was helping a guy yesterday set up a cold card. And I mean, I love the cold card. I love absolutely everything about it. I use it myself for the majority of my Bitcoin. But there are some things that I don't love about the cold card. And one of those things is the little wee piece of paper that they send with it for people to write their private key on. And the reason I don't love that is because I just find it's easy to get lost. Like you get this very encrypted device, very secure, you know, a little bit too much for some people, but it's where you want to be. And then you just write your private key on this little wee piece of paper, and then you probably just leave it around somewhere. I've seen several of these lost, and it has your PIN code and your private key on it. I think they need to change that, and maybe I'll mention that somehow to Odell or to NVK, because I do think that that's a problem. So anyways, where I was going with that is I think that when you start, you should get like a nice piece of paper, whether it's cardboard or like a thick, like this is thicker. It's not like just a normal flimsy piece of paper that would be around your office. Put it on something that's somewhat thicker, meaningful, that you're not going to throw it in the trash or lose track of. So that's where you start. Then you go to a steel plate or titanium in this case that we're going to be talking about here. I think the titanium is supposed to be better in a certain degree of fire. So titanium is probably preferred there, but steel is good too. So steel or titanium. And then from there, After a while, once you get a little bit familiar with everything within Bitcoin, how to use the technology, how to use the devices, how it all works, then I think you should be looking to encrypt your backup. So that's how I'll preface this, is that you kind of go gradual. You start with something that's thicker paper, meaningful. Maybe you laminate it, maybe not, but you keep it in a very secure location. You never keep your private key anywhere near a camera, ever. You never say it out loud. You never put it on anything connected to the internet. You keep it on paper. And then you go to steel, titanium, which I think is a very good option. It's going to hold out through fire, through water, through anything like that. And then eventually, once you get to a certain point and your Bitcoin stack is high enough, then you look to, then you look to encrypt it. And you should always be thinking about evolving here. This isn't something that you just do and then you forget about, and then you just hope that in 5 years you're going to come back and be able to restore your Bitcoin. This is something you should be practicing, rehearsing, and it's always evolving. It evolves with you. It evolves with your knowledge, and it evolves with your size of your Bitcoin stack and the value of it. So again, don't think that you're just going to do this once and you're going to forget about it and then come back in 5 or 10 years and your family's going to know what to do and you're going to know what to do. That's not how it works. This is it's a lot of responsibility. It's worth it, but you got to be on top of this stuff. So that's where I'd preface this. But with in terms of steel plate, this is what I would recommend here. So this is a bundle. This includes a jade as well, and it includes a stamp seed, titanium for your words. It's got all the letters there, a little guide, the anvil, and the nice hammer there. So this all comes together in the package with the jade. So if you need a decoy wallet, if you already have one, then this is probably a good idea for you. $425, and you can use the code 88sats. That gets you 15% off of that. So pretty good deal, especially if you're like in the US and your dollar's a lot better than the Canadian one. This is a steal for you. So that's one option. But then, I mean, if you don't need the jade with there, if you already have a couple hardware wallets or you have a decoy and a regular one, then you can just buy the stamp seed itself from the website here. Oh, it's loading here. So not just the bundles here that I would promote, but everything on the QuickBits website here you can check out, including steel plates and titanium. So that one's called the stamp seed. So that's a good question. And speaking of QuickBit, Dale's in the chat this morning. Good morning. Happy Sweet 16 Bitcoin. Yeah, happy birthday. Is it the birthday today, or is that on October 31st? I guess it's the white paper's birthday. I don't know, but yes, it is the very first Bitcoin block was mined 16 years ago today. Ian, good morning. Let's we got a couple zaps here. Hold on. Got to catch up on a few. All right. What do we have? We have 88 sats anonymously sent into this wallet, it looks like. So thank you for that, whoever sent 88 sats. And we got 1,000 sats from Timber Crasher, sending love and appreciation for all you do for the community. 1,000 sats also to this wallet. So thank you, Timber Crasher. 1,000 sats, very much appreciate that. And we got Spaceman, 121 sats. Hello, Letha. Good morning, Zap streamers. Thank you, Spaceman. It is Fat Zap Friday, and you might zap less on any other day, but today is Fat Zap Friday. Clean Your Machine, it was a good show talking about the Bitcoin generations. Definitely subscribing. Yeah, I mean, it's the case with everything, even with this show. I know that there's the majority of people who watch this show actually don't subscribe to the channel, and that's fine. I'm never going to beg you to subscribe. If you want to, ensure that when you're going through YouTube every day, the videos pop up, then subscribe. If you want to support the channel, subscribe. And I mean, I put out a lot of content on this channel between the morning show, the replay in the afternoon, and then a bunch of videos of like clips that I find throughout the episodes that I think would be useful in a shorter form that people can find. So I'm sure most people subscribe on here, but if you're not, then consider it. So Dale says Proof of Keys Day was initiated by Trace Mayer about 5 years ago. Interesting. I did not know that. Dizzy Willow, Bitcoin Journeyman, says I've seen people use stainless steel washers stamped with words stacked on a bolt and snugged up. Yep, that works too. Cheap and durable. So, I mean, just on the, since it is Proof of Keys Day, is that what it is? Proof of Keys Day, and we're talking about all this stuff today. I think it is worth sharing because it's important to understand the whole thing between wallets, hardware devices, and private keys, your backup phrase. So when you set up a brand new wallet, what happens there is you actually get a private key, and it looks like a bunch of letters and numbers, and it would be impossible for somebody to memorize that. So when you set up a wallet, you get a private key, which is like the password to the wallet, and you get the public key or receive address, where if somebody wants to send you Bitcoin, that's what you can share with them. The private key, obviously, you keep to yourself. It's like a password. You never share that with anybody. And the public key is something you can share. And so how I like to think about that is like the private key is very similar to like your safe in your house. It's there. It's locked up. Only you know the key to. That's like your private key. Your public key, I would say, is like your mailing address. If somebody wanted to send you any mail, you can share your mailing address with them. But just because you share the mailing address doesn't mean they have access to your mail and your information and everything like that. So that's the private key and the public key. And then the backup phrase is actually just a mnemonic way to memorize your private key. So that converts the recovery phrase or the backup phrase. That's basically just a way to memorize your private key, because again, your private key is just a bunch of letters and numbers. It's a long string, impossible to memorize. So the recovery phrase is actually just a mnemonic version of that people can memorize. So you have your wallet with a private key, public key, and the recovery phrase. And so to back up that wallet, to make sure that if something were to happen to your phone, your hardware device, whatever, your recovery phrase is how you would recover it, unlock it. So if you lost your phone, if you lost your laptop, you want to recover your wallet, those are the 12 or 24 words that you put into it. So that's just kind of a background on, hey, look who showed up. Hey, buddy. Thanks for coming to the show. You got a couple zaps this morning so far. And a big fatty from yesterday. 60K sats. That was nuts. That was nutso. All right, what do we got here from Dale? Cedar product is the washers and the capsule. Stamp seed is the titanium plate. You got a couple options there. So again, the purpose of that is to be able to recover your wallet if something were to happen to it. Happy Firestarter Friday. Stack sats and hold private keys. Living good with Sabian. Good morning. Happy Friday. And Lucas, thanks for all the great content. New Bitcoin acquiring some sats. Can I use Sparrow Wallet with my Trezor to consolidate UTXOs? Yes, absolutely. Sparrow is the best wallet to be using by far. By far. White paper day is October 31st. Jan 3 is the first blocked mine. Yes. Lucas says, by the way, what's a passphrase and how do I set it up with the Trezor hardware wallet? I mean, that's a conversation for not a live show. It's a little bit more to it. I mean, if you or anybody else is looking for some help with the device, the passphrase, the decoy, the everything you need to keep track of with your wallet, the connection to Sparrow, then it's best just to set up a call. It's I try to answer as many questions as I can on here, but that kind of stuff I'd rather just set up a call and discuss on there. So if you want to, everything is in the show notes, all my contact info, my website, my NPub, my email address. Those are all in there. Brennan, good morning. 21 likes only. There's 55 people in here. That's kind of sad. Did nobody listen to Rick? Dizzy Will says, those jades seem pretty cool. Not as knowledgeable about zero gap. I like the idea that it can directly scan the QR code. I currently have a Trezor 5. Yeah, so if you're looking for an air-gapped hardware device, the Cold Card, the Jade, and the Foundation Passport are kind of the three main ones that I would recommend to people. I like, there's trade-offs of every device. Every device. The Cold Card, I love, very secure. It is probably the top of the line in terms of hardware security. It's a little bit more expensive. The drawbacks are the cost of it. Another drawback would be the fact that you can't really order everything at once. You got to kind of order things separately. I've seen so many people order a Cold Card, then realize they need a cord or an SD card or a power pack to it. The other drawback of the Cold Card is I know this is stupid, but the little paper that they send with it, I hate that. I think that they should be doing something about that. And it's intimidating. It's not an easy thing to just pick up and learn. The Jade, I would say the benefits of that is that you can actually set it up in a way where it is air gapped. You actually have the device. I don't know where the Jade is, but you have the device and it actually doesn't store any of your keys on the device itself. So even if somebody came across the device around your house, the keys actually aren't stored on the Jade if you do it properly. So you have to scan your QR code that you generate yourself, which I like. I like the whole process there. The thing that I don't love about the Jade's also very cost effective compared to some of the other options. But the thing I don't love about the Jade is the QR, the camera on it. There are some settings to be adjusted. It's a little bit finicky and it takes some time. You need a lot of patience trying to scan things. So it's a little bit more of you have to have things in place. And the one thing I would say, if you're considering getting a Jade, make sure you have a good webcam. And that's not something that I've really shared on here before because I started using it a couple months ago. I've been playing around with it. I'm finally starting to get it to work a little bit better, but it is a little bit harder to scan the QR code and scan the QR code on the Jade itself. So there's trade-offs. Everything has trade-offs, including there's no perfect device, even with the Trezor. Trezor is good. I don't love the fact that it plugs into the USB port, but it is secure, it's good, and it's easy to use. So everything's got trade-offs. And we got a fat zap here from Plunger over on Zapstream. We got 1,000 sats from Plunger. Thank you, Plunger. Appreciate that, my friend. AV says, Arn, is he still here? Oh, he's gone. He made his 3 seconds of appearance today. Good morning, Ryan. Good to see you. Good to see you. Ian says, I tried listening to the Bitcoin Generation show on the way home, but my daughter hijacked the radio. I don't blame her. When I was a kid in the vehicle with my parents, I was listening to Shania Twain, Backstreet Boys, Chumbawamba, Eminem. I wasn't listening to people talk about financial stuff. So I don't blame her, Ian. But definitely check it out. It was a really good episode. I think that, again, people are going to learn a lot from that show, especially people who are just kind of getting into Bitcoin now. Bitcoin Generations. And again, I'm going to pin the show. I'm going to put the show in the comments today or in the show notes. And I'm going to pin the Bitcoin Generations in a comment. So if you got some time today and you want to check that out, it'll be there for you easily. Oh, I didn't see this, Kyle. Blockstream just released the Jade Pro. Bigger screen, better camera. That would be very helpful on that thing. So that's good. I'll have to get in touch with Dale and Leander there and maybe work that into the bundle. I would like that. I would like a bigger screen and a better camera on that thing. Yeah, Brandon says you don't have to use the cam on the Jade. I just like using that option because that's the true air gap form. It's never on the internet. It's never connected to anything. The keys aren't stored anywhere. You don't have to use it, but the way to use it properly, I think, is and as Boss says here too, you can use your phone via USB. Yes, you can. But the point of it, the reason I like the Jade is because you don't have to do that. You can air gap it. Never connected to the internet, never on your phone. I don't know. It's probably safe. I just would rather be more safe than sorry. Keller says, I recently got a Cold Card Q. Love it. I got one too. I just haven't had a chance to play around with it yet. So it's something I'm going to be doing hopefully early this year, playing around with it a little bit. It is freaking nice here today, you guys and girls. Check that out. That's what we're looking for. That's what we like to see. All right. Where should we begin here today? What do we got? 8:47. All right, start with the mempool. I got a video to watch too. And then I'm going to talk about do it for 100 days. What the hell does that mean? It's a good question. We are currently sitting at block height 877,650. The last block was won by Foundry USA. Look at this name. I like this. Poolin, Foundry, Binance, via BTC. Anyways, nothing to complain about here. This is like the perfect mempool scenario here. You got low fees. We're ahead of schedule, 13 blocks ahead. That means there's a lot of people joining the network, contributing to the network. And all is well. All is great in the mempool land. Unless you're a miner. But from a Bitcoiner's perspective, that's what you want to see. You want to see lots of miners. You want to see low fees. Selfishly. What happened here? I forgot to share my Central University of Northern Toronto mug today as well. This is the Friday mug with my Friday shirt. Who knows? Who knows? Pomp. Wow. Haven't seen Pomp for a while. Darko says seed signer. I've never used it myself. So I can't comment on that. It's a good option though. Apparently you generate your own seed instead of like the cold card, the Jade. They all generate the seed for you. But with the seed signer, I believe you do it yourself, which is a little bit more advanced, I would say. I wouldn't start with the seed signer, but a good option down the road for sure. Boss says I did include a comment to my 88 sats. Guess it didn't show. Huh. Yeah, it didn't show up. It just said pay to wall of Satoshi. Anyways, boss, thank you for the 88 sats. And I see another zap came in here. 3,000 sats. Woohoo, that's a fatty. That's a fatty for Fat Zap Friday. Was that on Zap Stream? No, it was for the QR code. Anonymous again. Thank you. We're hot today for Fat Zap Friday. It was bloody Taylor Swift. What was that? What was Taylor Swift? Meant to get the X pub. Palm says, are there bears in that forest? Yes, there are. This is definitely bear country here. There's a actually, so on the road that I live here, I mean, I'm not too worried about dogs myself. I probably should be a little bit more careful with it, but on the road here that we have, it's a private road and there's only 2 houses or 2 pieces of property or whatever you want to call it, 2 lots. This house, and then further down the private road is actually a bear outfitter place. So they're only there about, I don't know, 5 or 6 weekends a year maybe. And I don't know if they lure bears in, how it all works. I have no idea, but it's pretty cool. I've been in their shop before. The front is like a man cave, huge man cave with a bunch of animals on the wall, place to hang out. And then in the back and up the stairs, there's living quarters there. So it's a really cool place, but there are a lot of bears here. Like if you pull into the town here, the welcome sign actually has a big bear on it. So I know nobody gives a shit, but Pomp asked. Okay, we got Ahsoka over in the Zap stream, zapped 1,000 sats. Thank you, Ahsoka. Good morning. And Plunger says, I have a seed signer, very slick little unit. Not the best for novice users, but it's not too difficult. Interesting. That's good to know. I like playing around with stuff myself. I'm sure there's a lot of people like that, but I probably have like 5 or 6 different devices. I don't have a seed signer though. Not yet. And I don't know if I will. Anyways, let me get this video fired up while we're kind of plucking around here. Oh. All right. It's a favorite noise to make when you're waiting on something to load. Okay, let's check this video out here. This is I came across this morning. I don't know if it was on NOSTR or Telegram or wherever it was, but I saved it because it's a pretty good video. So again, we did our inaugural episode of Bitcoin Generations yesterday, and it is more focused towards the baby boomers. And I know that there's a lot of baby boomers out there who would love Bitcoin if they just kind of understood it. And they've had 16 years now of very negative brainwashing propaganda against Bitcoin. And if baby boomers and everybody else, but especially baby boomers, actually understood what Bitcoin was and what it unlocks here and the scarcity and the actually being backed by something. And that's kind of what this talks about. I feel like this video is very relatable to the baby boomer generation. It's an older guy talking. It's talking about how things were versus how they are today, talking about Henry Ford. And so I've seen that this is actually going to be a Super Bowl commercial about Bitcoin. That's not confirmed or anything, but I wanted to share it today because it is very useful, I think, when you're trying to understand what gives Bitcoin valuable. Why is everybody so excited about it? And it is the scarcity. It is actually being backed by something. It's not it. You can't print it. There's nobody that controls it. There's nobody that can create it. And regardless of how many people want to use it, we cannot increase the supply of it. And if you think about every single issue that faces our society today, it all kind of roots back to giving a small group of people the ability to print money. And so I love this. I don't know if it's an ad or just a video somebody made, but it goes through this whole thing in a very effective manner. So let's watch this.
Didn't used to be like this. Exhausting ourselves, leaving our homes, giving up precious time, and still not able to afford nothing. Our money's broken. Broken money steals your energy, your time, your life. Thomas Jefferson tried to warn us about this. He knew that a currency that could be printed out of thin air would rob us all blind. Henry Ford proposed a new type of currency completely based off energy in 1921. He had this idea that an energy-backed currency would be the ultimate form of money, not just promises in paper. He believed an energy-backed currency was an honest way for people to prove the work they'd perform. Our money represents our value, our lives, our freedom, our energy. It's not right to have it constantly debased, but there is a solution out there. It's the most secure network the world has ever seen, without a single failure, ever, completely decentralized across the globe, backed by raw energy. There's millions of people all around the globe pouring every nickel and dime they have into this network, out there working tirelessly day and night, storing their energy into a brighter future.
How good is that? I love videos that kind of give you chills and goosebumps like that because it's true. And the one thing that really, to me, I mean, if you think about this whole thing from like let me get rid of that. If you think about this thing from very first principles here and how this whole thing, how we ended up here in terms of everything costing so much, everybody working so hard, getting nowhere with it, fighting, violence, wars, all this kind of stuff. It all stems from the money, the ability to print money. It's where it all comes from. And it's the sad things like that. If you think about the family, and I don't know how old people here are, but I was lucky enough to, we just had, my dad was the one who worked in the family. Mom did a lot of work. She probably worked harder than dad in a lot of ways, looking after us. But we don't have that anymore. There's no option for one parent to work unless you're like in the very ultra rich, like the 0.001% of people. Both parents are at work. Both parents are disconnected from their kids. They're so busy. And when that happens, when you take the ability of the mother to raise the kid, where do they go? Send them to preschool very early on to socialize. Then they send them to school to be socialized, to fit in with society, to learn how to be a member of society. And so when you print money, you force both parents to go back to work. You leave the kids to be raised by who? The school system. And who pays for the school system? Who funds it? Who not funds it? I guess we fund it. But who decides what's taught in school, I guess? And that is the government. So the government, this is full circle here. The government prints money to fund their own bullshit agenda. They devalue your currency, which makes you go to work harder, 2 jobs, 3 jobs, both parents going to work. So you have to send your kids to a school. You have to send it to preschool. You have to put them through the whole thing, which is the way to do it, right? And so when you do that, who's teaching your kids? The government. And what do they teach them? I think most people would agree that not everything you learn in school is completely accurate and completely beneficial for you. You learn how to be a good slave, pretty much. You learn how to show up on time, to sit in a classroom all day. It's shitty to say, but this is something I really think needs to change in the world, the school system. I think that's a big part of it. And until you have a currency that's actually backed by something, you take away that ability for them to print money. And the time and energy that you spend during your day, you can actually store that properly and actually get ahead. That's the difference here. And when that happens, I think that there's going to be a combination of things through homeschooling, where the mom or the dad actually stays home and can spend time with the kids and teach them about things that they want to learn about versus what the government thinks that they should learn about. And if you think about the stress and the fights that are caused by money, it's truly sickening what they've done to the world and to society just by, we allowed them to print money. And I think that even if we ended up going back to a gold standard, things would be 1,000 times better than they are today. It still wouldn't be great, like a Bitcoin standard, a currency backed by Bitcoin and energy would be much more beneficial, I think, short-term and long-term. But even going back to a gold standard where you take away their ability to print money, that would change every aspect of society. And it's already happening. Like, I'm talking about this as if it's a pipe dream, but this is already happening. Bitcoin's here. Nobody can stop Bitcoin. The sooner you join the network, the sooner you convert your time and energy into Bitcoin, the better off you're going to be. And so I think that video was perfect in terms of helping people understand the importance of a currency that's backed by energy and the issues with giving a small group of people the ability to print money. So hopefully that makes its way around the world. I'll probably share that video next week on the Bitcoin Generations show, because I think it's going to really hit home with a lot of baby boomers out there. And they're the ones who hold all the wealth. Remember that. And how I see this whole thing playing out here, just to, again, take it one step further, is that with the baby boomers, like, a lot of them have years, decades left. And a lot of them probably will fight for some reason. They'll probably fight any sort of change. They don't understand what they're defending when they defend the fiat and shit on Bitcoin. But a lot of them will be very resistant to change. A lot of them will stay in that system forever. They'll keep getting poorer and poorer, and their pensions on a fixed income, especially. When you're getting the same amount every month from the government and everything in your life gets more expensive, you lose. At least if you don't have a fixed income, if you're working, you can work, you can get a second job, you can get a raise, you can get a bonus. But people on fixed income, they have no choice. They're stuck with whatever they get every month. And as the price of their groceries goes up, as the price of their gas, their rent, everything goes up, they just get poorer. And it's very sad. So over time, I think that some of those people, and I know that there's baby boomers probably watching the show here today. I know that there are, but a lot of people will just stay in that system. But when their wealth that they've accrued through the years, when that gets passed on to the younger generation, like my generation, what do you think is going to happen with that? Do you think they're going to keep buying gold and bonds and stocks and keeping it in a savings account, or are they going to start buying Bitcoin? So this thing's going to happen eventually. It is happening eventually. And it's kind of up to the baby boomers if they want it to happen faster or if they want it to happen after they're gone. Either way, it's happening. So this could take 5 years. It could take 10 years. It could take 20 years. But eventually all that capital is going to find its way into Bitcoin. And when that happens, like it's hard to even comprehend for the human brain, an asset that's truly scarce and fixed, and everything will be flow into, and everything will be repriced by. Anyways, I love that. Joey, morning, brother. Morning, Jordan. Morning, Living the Future gang. God bless you all. Great comment. Cleaning Machine says, beautiful skyline, George, still dark in Alberta. Really? I guess you're an hour behind there in Alberta, right? It's 8 o'clock there. Martin says Tangem. Let me give you some info here on Tangem. There's been a lot of people who have been asking about Tangem, and I've never used it myself. But one of the things about being in the Living in the Future community is you have some very intelligent people in there. And people like Craig, who's consistently helping the group with security stuff, with updates, with questions that they have. And so this is something that Craig posted in there today. And I don't really mean to dox him or the chat here or anything, but I think it is important to talk about this stuff. So this is a security alert for Tangem Wallet users. It says Tangem Wallet recently published a bug notice where the wallet will accidentally record in the phone app logs your private key and then send it to their support team if they press the support button within 7 days. The bug has been fixed apparently and pushed out to a new app version. Does not appear to be any malicious intent. Tangem seems like it was a reputable company with a easy to use multi-sig wallet and a phone app, but this highlights problems within the industry and the reason why we air gap our private keys from an internet connected device. So something to be aware of there. I know for a fact that there's a lot of people who watch the show who use Tangem Wallet. So every wallet's going to have issues for sure. This is just Tangem's the most recent one, but I did hear about this last week, or maybe it was something different with the private keys being pushed out to the support team, which is very strange. So something to keep an eye on there. And if you do have a Tangem wallet with a sizable amount of Bitcoin, I would not chance this. I would not hope things work out for you. I would get a different wallet today and I would move Bitcoin into that new wallet with a fresh private key. Why would you risk it? That's just my opinion. So again, thanks to Craig for everything he does to the community there. Craig's over in Zapstream right now. Very, very knowledgeable fella. And I've been very honored to be in some of the conversations with him lately, helping people set up their SUBSTACK and security and inheritance protocol. Something I'm very excited about is SUBSTACK. It just makes so much sense. Oh, the comment said I didn't want you to get too fat. Well, I don't think we have to worry about that for a while. But the zaps help for sure. Riley Weiwei What do you think is going on with MicroStrategy? Nothing. Nothing's going on with MicroStrategy. I look at MicroStrategy and Bitcoin very much the same. I mean, MicroStrategy is totally dependent on Bitcoin for sure, but they're not necessarily going to be connected all the time. And I think there is actually opportunity there for arbitrage. If you can figure out the average NAV, the net asset value of the company compared to Bitcoin, it's going to go up and down. And if you can arbitrage that, I think there's a big opportunity there. But you have to keep in mind here with MicroStrategy and Saylor, he loves the volatility. His investors love the volatility of it. So he doesn't give a shit what the stock price is today. He's focused on one thing, getting as much Bitcoin as he can. And I would say that he's done a pretty damn good job of that over these last few months and years. MicroStrategy has 400,000, more than that, more than 400,000 Bitcoin. More than 400,000 Bitcoin. No country, well, maybe the US, maybe a country in the UAE, but no company is ever going to surpass that. I don't even think anybody's going to come close, because you have to keep in mind here that the reason why I'm so excited about MicroStrategy, and again, before I go any further here, I should preface with this, is that if you have any money outside of the traditional system, that should be 100% in Bitcoin. Cold storage, you hold it, the keys to it. Nobody else has access to it. There's no third-party risk there. Nobody can rug you. That's where your money goes to. But if you do have any capital trapped in the old system, I think MicroStrategy is a far superior play than like a Bitcoin ETF or a mining company or anything, or especially a non-Bitcoin company. But the reason why it makes so much sense to me to hold MicroStrategy is because of that. Nobody's going to come close to the Bitcoin that they have. And the implications of that are substantial. Because you have to figure out here, even with Apple, Google, Meta, Tesla, Nvidia, they have enough cash to buy Bitcoin today. They could surpass MicroStrategy at current prices though. But as soon as they start buying a bunch of Bitcoin, that's going to drive up the price for one, just inherently. But it's also going to send signal to the rest of the market that they're going to be buying Bitcoin, which is going to create more demand. Supply is not going to change. And so that's why Saylor himself has been putting out his open source material. He's been giving presentations. He's been on the mainstream news every week. And he's actually been sharing his playbook with other companies. Why? Because he knows that as soon as they start buying Bitcoin, as soon as a company like Apple or Google or Meta would start buying Bitcoin, that's just going to drive up the price of Bitcoin. And what does that do? It drives up the price of the company's value of MicroStrategy. So every company, every country that adopts Bitcoin going forward is good for MicroStrategy because it bumps up the price of Bitcoin, and then inherently bumps up the price and the value of MicroStrategy. And it's like they call it a flywheel effect, because everything that happens every time a new company or country adds Bitcoin to their balance sheet, it makes MicroStrategy's company more valuable. So I don't look at the day-to-day price or the week-to-week price with MicroStrategy. I'm holding that for the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years. I see it I think of it very much like Bitcoin, where it's going to go up, it's going to go down. Every time it goes down, you try to buy some. And it's an asset that you want to hold for the long term. So I don't get too concerned with, I don't do any leverage plays. I don't do anything like that. I just buy a MicroStrategy, hold it, and probably I would guess a year from now or less, there's probably going to be another stock split. Last time they did a stock split at 1,200, I believe, maybe 1,100 US dollars. And I think that they'll probably do it again when we get to that price in the coming months and years. So don't try to like go all in on it or anything. That doesn't make any sense, but get a couple shares for sure. Because in a year from now, even if you get 2 or 3 shares in MicroStrategy, which is what I did initially, that turns into 20 or 30 shares after they do a stock split. And for me, because nobody's ever going to be able to catch MicroStrategy with Bitcoin, if Bitcoin becomes what we think it's going to, the world reserve asset, where everything's repriced by Bitcoin and it's very collateralized and used throughout the financial system, if they have the most Bitcoin, they're the most valuable company. And if nobody can catch them in terms of Bitcoin, they're going to stay the most valuable company. So once they get to number one on the stock exchange, which they will, barring something crazy that happens, they're probably going to stay there for our lifetime. And if you think about this is the kind of stuff that's like, it just makes so much sense. Because they got into QQQ, which means they're going to have a bunch of passive buyers. They're going to get into the S&P 500, which is going to bring in more passive buyers. And those buyers are going to be holding that Bitcoin, the MicroStrategy shares, forever. And it's just going to keep going, because the higher you climb in the S&P in the rankings, the more automatic inflows you have from the funds and the ETFs and the indexes and stuff like that. So it's just they're just going to keep more and more demand, and Saylor is just going to make this thing as volatile as possible. So there's going to be, I see it as the best way to do it. He wants to make it as volatile as possible. And so if you're aware of that, you don't get mad or anything when the price goes down. You actually take that as an opportunity to buy more MicroStrategy shares. So that has been MicroStrategy, Unexpected MicroStrategy Friday. That was a really long answer. Ian says, I'm having trouble sending zaps on Zapstream, so I sent from Strike. 3,000. That was you, Ian. Thank you, Ian, for your content and helping us all on our Bitcoin journey. Much appreciated. Well, thank you, Ian. It's pretty nice. I like the likes. I like the comments. I like people showing up, but the zaps are preferred. What's my favorite beer? I don't know if that's supposed to say beer or bear. I thought you were being like Dwight Schrute, my favorite bear. My favorite beer is Sol. S-O-L. It's a Mexican cerveza. I like a lot of beer, though. I don't really discriminate. Zane says, girlfriend just left me. All I got is boxing and Bitcoin from now on. That's okay, Zane. There's just make sure when you meet your next girlfriend, your future wife, you don't tell her how much Bitcoin you have. Let her find that out later. And as Paul says, single guys can stack harder. Some good comments here. Phil says 2025, we're all getting girlfriends. Oh, man. Proof of wife. Good shit there. Andrew, good morning, my friend. Yeah, Bren says 100% uptime for the Bitcoin network is the most slept on or not understood fact. 100%. Lucas says, thoughts on running a Bitcoin network node? Definitely. If you're there, if you got some Bitcoin, if you got enough Bitcoin you're satisfied with for now, then invest in a server like a Start9 or an Umbrel. And definitely, you don't need that either, though. You can run a light version of a node, and for much cheaper, much less work. So absolutely, I don't think you need to spend a whole bunch of money to run a Bitcoin node. And I did get the Start9, the server. I talked about this a little bit yesterday's show. And I don't know if I mentioned or not, but if you're looking at a Start9 server, a couple things I'll say here. And hopefully I don't forget what I'm talking about here. But these are actually sold out right now, I believe. They were yesterday. Yeah. But bookmark this. Again, this is nothing you need to rush into. I think everything in Bitcoin should be taken very slowly. But these are the Start9. I think this is the premier options for like a server for your own self-sovereignty. So you get the server one, the pure. This is what I got. And so keep an eye out. Bookmark it, or I don't know if there's a way to get notified when they're back in stock. But if you are looking at getting one of these, make sure you use the code 88SATS, 88SATS. And that'll save you about $60 US off of this device here, which makes a big difference. That's about 60,000 sats that you save. So that's the thing I'd say is like a Start9. It's great. I'm going to use it for much more than just running a Bitcoin node, though. I kind of foresee a future where we send all of our data there from all of our different apps that we use. We send it to our own server, and we can actually bundle it up and sell it to companies. That's kind of what's coming down the road in Bitcoin. So I want to get very familiar with this thing. I want to utilize it as best I can. And so running a Bitcoin node is the first step, but it's not going to be the only step in my server journey. But again, you got the Start9, you got an Umbrel, there's a Raspberry Pi Blitz or something, or you can just get an old laptop and download a light version of the blockchain, the blockchain time chain. And if you're looking for, again, I don't keep meaning to throw Craig under the bus here and make more work for him, but if you're looking for a comparison between Start9 and Umbrel, Craig actually is a really good document that just compares the two, the features, pros, the cons, the price, capabilities, functionality. And so if you're interested, just shoot me an email and I'll get a copy of that for you from Craig. Matt had one of the best comments in the Living in the Future history yesterday. I forget what it was about. I think it was the government and telling them what information. I got a kick out of that. But anyways, Matt, good morning. Blessed to be here thinking about how Bitcoin is going up forever in fiat terms. It makes sense that no matter what you get in, it will always be early. 100%. 100%. Phil says the Bitcoin network in its infancy had a brief downtime when someone printed like 1 billion Bitcoin and it had to fork. Yeah, that's the nice thing about it, is that if something happens, you can just fork it, and everybody's, who knows what they're doing, everybody running a node will just go along with that. So I do remember that there were some issues right off the start with Bitcoin, but I think it's been that was very early on. I think it's been 15 years since there's been any issues or downtime. Henry Ford's energy money, exactly. There's an article, I think, about that. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know if it was an article or let me see if we can find it here. This is 100 years ago, you have to remember. Like, people today don't even understand energy and money and stuff like that. This was 100 years ago. Henry Ford, energy money, energy currency. Is this actual article in here? Yeah, there it is. So this was 100 years ago. I don't know when this is from. I'll try to find out here. It's on Reddit, actually. But anyways, it says Ford would replace gold with energy currency and stop wars. This is 100 years ago. This article was written. Declares if government will give him Muscle Shoals plant, he can demonstrate success of a plan to substitute natural wealth as a basis for world's money. Well, Henry Ford, I mean, way ahead of his time. But I think he was pretty crazy to ask the government for permission to use it. That's the difference here, I think. Is that with Bitcoin, you don't need permission. You don't need the government to approve it or not. It's a protocol. Anybody can use it. It's completely voluntary. And it works. It's backed by energy. So Henry Ford was way ahead of his time here with this. And Bitcoin, for those who might be somewhat newer to Bitcoin, the reason why it's backed by energy is because in order to obtain Bitcoin, from the very first day, January 3rd, 2009, every single Bitcoin that people hold has been earned with energy. Either they plug in a Bitcoin miner and they compete for a block, and that's the only way that new Bitcoin are put into circulation is through mining the block rewards every 10 minutes. So you either plug in a machine that you pay the energy for or the electricity for. So that's your proof of work. Or you buy it. You take the time and energy from your job, however you add value to the world, and you convert that into Bitcoin. So at no stage in Bitcoin's history was there any Bitcoin given out or issued to people through like an ICO or an IPO or given to friends and family. Every single Bitcoin that's ever been mined has been mined through energy, through electricity. because you can't get new Bitcoin without energy. That's why it's backed by energy. That's why it's an energy currency. And it's the only currency, it's the only asset that actually ties the physical world with the digital world. Everything else online and digital, there's no energy to make it. All the spam, all the money that the banks send around, there's nothing that backs that. There's no energy required to make that. So Bitcoin is the only thing that brings the real world to the virtual world, the online digital world. And that's a big deal. People don't really understand how big of a deal that is yet, but it is a very, very big deal. Fix the money, fix the world. It's just, not just a catchphrase. Cleaner Machine says, 100%, that's why I'm here, to protect my assets going in the future. I'm 55. And we got Maze Man, Boomer here. Boomers get a pretty bad rep, but I don't know. I think that boomers, to me, they went through a lot of shit. They didn't really have a whole lot of choice, honestly. And it's easy to look back now and say, oh, baby boomers really fucked us over here with everything. But it's like, if you think about it, the baby boomers didn't have the internet. They didn't have any other option. They had 3 pieces of media, 3 outlets to get information from, maybe 4. The TV, the radio, the newspaper, and books, I would say, like encyclopedias, stuff like that. They didn't have the internet. There was no, everything was very centralized when baby boomers were going through life. They didn't know. They didn't have a choice. Yes, they kind of screwed things for us today, but there was no other option. There was no internet. There was no YouTube broadcasts every morning. There was no Rebel News. There was nothing. Everything, all the information that baby boomers received was very centralized. They didn't have a choice. So I don't fault baby boomers at all. And I really respect the ones who are in Bitcoin now and taking it upon themselves to try to change direction here. Okay. Craig says, for people who want to save some money but want to run a node, simply installing Bitcoin Core and running a prune node is an easy win. So let me share this with, I can't share this. Hold on. I'm going to share this in the YouTube chat too, in case anybody wants to. Again, for people who want to save money without buying a server, but want to run a Bitcoin node, simply installing Bitcoin Core on your laptop and running a pruned node is an easy win. So I shared the link there from Craig in the notes here on YouTube. So a prune node is essentially, we don't need to get into all of it today. I've talked about too many things already. Yes, Satoshi patched the network in a really short time, like a couple hours. Truly amazing. Andrew says, why take that chance with your Bitcoin? I think we're talking about the Tangent wallet there. Yes, 100%. 100%. Like, why would you risk that? If you understand what you're holding, why would you take the chance? Why not just invest a couple $100 in a new device? Maybe get somebody to help you set it up. Maybe do it yourself. Doesn't matter. But get that off of Tangent. Honestly, like, there's no sense in just hoping for the best here. Understand what you're holding and do something about it. Act today. Don't wait for something to happen bad. Eric says, also, if you are concerned with privacy, don't use Tangent. It only generates a single address. Very true. That's a great point. And I did not know that until recently. But that is a big point, a great point. So thank you for sharing that, Eric. That's a big one, truly. And why is it a big deal? Because when you have a wallet like Sparrow, for an example, when you have a wallet like Sparrow, you set up a new wallet in there, and anybody can do this. You don't need a hardware device to download Sparrow. You can use the hot wallet version of it, which isn't advised, but it's still better than a lot of wallets out there. So with Sparrow, you can actually manage your UTXOs. And every time you download a new Sparrow or set up a new Sparrow wallet, they give you like 50 different receive addresses. And it's unlimited, I believe. You start out with like 25 or something along those lines. But the reason why that's important is because when you're sending Bitcoin to somebody, they can trace it back. And so if you have all of your Bitcoin in a single address, like a Tangent wallet, even if you sent them 10,000 sats, they would be able to look back where it came from and see what your Bitcoin balance is. And that's a problem. That'd be like you send somebody an e-transfer or a payment through wherever, and they'd be able to look back and see what the bank balance was in your account. Doesn't make any sense to do that. So with Sparrow, you have a bunch of different receive addresses. So you can put a fraction of it in this one, and then you send more to this other one. You generate a new receive address every time you send Bitcoin to the wallet. So it's still included in the balance within your wallet. It's all still spendable. But when somebody tries to trace it back to you, they only see that specific receive address. They don't see your whole wallet balance. So that's a very good point. So not only with the privacy concerns with Tangent, with the security keys being leaked to the support team or whatever that was, I don't know the whole story there. I just think it's a concern, something to look into at least. And there's no sense in just, again, hoping for the best and hoping that it blows over. Just act today, get a new wallet, move it out of Tangent, and then you won't lose any sleep over it. Brennan says, would you buy Bitcoin Well stock in TFSA? Oh, I would say yes. And the only reason I say yes is because I own some myself. And I would definitely not tell anybody to buy it. I'm just telling you that I hold some Bitcoin Well stock in my TFSA. I mean, I just like Bitcoin companies. I don't think anything's going to outperform MicroStrategy, but I do like supporting Bitcoin Well. Obviously, I support them on the show here. They support the community here. And I think that if I want to help Bitcoin Well succeed, and so I want, if I own stock in the company, I have some sort of incentive there and I'm not going to hide that at all. I don't think it's worth hiding. And if Bitcoin ends up being adopted, this is why I own it, aside from like my relationship with Bitcoin Well. But if Bitcoin ends up being something, think about how many people are still going to need to buy Bitcoin and have a place to exchange fiat for Bitcoin. A lot of people. And if you can be the best one, which I believe Bitcoin Well is in Canada for sure, and one of the top 3 in the US, then you're going to get a lot of new customers over the coming years. And if you look at bank stocks like RBC, like BMO, they've done very well in the past. And you can buy Bitcoin Well stock right now for like 15 cents per share. They also own Bitcoin now. And I think that they're the best platform. So if you're the best platform, you're going to have a lot of users. And you have shows like this. A lot of Bitcoiners love Bitcoin Well. And they've been around for a lot of time. So they have experience. They have the network. And when this whole thing plays out, it's going to be companies like Bitcoin Well who really shine. So again, I don't know if it'll outperform MicroStrategy in terms of gains, but I think it's a good option. I really do. With less volatility and not as much upside, but I don't think as much downside either. Who knows? Do your own research. Don't take my advice. When Lambo. Yeah, you know what I'm going to say there. Okay, what does Brennan say here? MicroStrategy's number 1 market cap right now, 3.5 trillion, is a 46x. And honestly, it's only a matter of time. Ian says Bitcoin isn't about flexing, but going to be so happy when we're proven right. Yeah, we might not be proven right for a while yet. I think we got a lot of years of being called dipshits still, but we're on the right track. Are you from Canada? Yes, I am. I am from Canada. What gave it away? The Canada flag in the background? Or my voice? Or my accent? Last Retro Hero says, when you started with Bitcoin, at which price? I had FOMO in bear market 16K and got all in. Best choice of my life. Yeah, I think the price of Bitcoin honestly was around that when I got into it too, which was in 2019-ish, end of 2019, I think. I don't know. It was around 10 to 15 or 20K. But the thing that I'm most proud of in Bitcoin, is when we went from 64, 69K, whatever it was in 2021, and we dropped down to 16K. And that's when we started the 88 Sats fund, the Bitcoin and golf project, where we all put in some Bitcoin and we had the intention, the end goal of buying our own golf course. And so we got everybody to buy in at like 16, 17, 18, 20K. And so we're like 4 or 5X now in 2 years. We could not have picked a better time to start buying Bitcoin for that project. So anyways, the other thing I would say on that is that we actually have a couple people we did a second round of contributions because we want to get to a certain amount of Bitcoin. And so there's a couple people who are going to be selling their shares in 88 Sats. So there's only 88 shares available that we've been sold out for the last couple of years. There's been a bunch of people asking about it. And officially, there's going to be at least 2 new shares available in 88 Sats. There's 2 shares available, and there's probably 30 or 40 people who are interested in those shares. So I don't know what we're going to do, but if you are somebody who wants to be involved in that process of potentially buying a share in 88 Sats, then let me know. Just shoot me an email. And I'll get you going. Oh, we might have Arnie joining us here. I heard him get off his little perch. We'll see. We'll see if he shows up. Phil C says, great YouTube channel here. Finally, just Bitcoin talk. I could talk Bitcoin all day long. Yeah, me too. What's going on here, Arn? Sneaking around doing something. Arn? I don't know what he's doing out there. Never know what he's doing out there. Yeah, that's what this channel is. And going back to a couple things I'd say on this is that this show, again, we started this about just over a year ago now. Do it every day, same time. And it's just talking about Bitcoin, talking about different things, what could happen, things to look out for, security threats, tips for storing your Bitcoin keys, everything. There's a little bit of price talk, obviously. It's hard to ignore that. But we've all kind of gone through this whole thing from day one together. And so a lot of us, there's some that are ahead, some that are a little bit behind. But for the most part, we're all kind of on the same stage in the journey here. And that's not going to change. We're going to keep evolving here with the community. In a year or two from now, I'm sure we'll have some different topics to discuss. But the Bitcoin Generation show, that's for people who are just kind of getting into Bitcoin today or a couple months ago. And you still have a lot to learn, and you want to take it slow, and you want to understand from first principles, get a good foundation. That's what the Bitcoin Generation show, weekly show, is going to be about. So again, I'm going to put the link to that in the show notes, and I'm going to pin the comment at the top if you want to go over there and subscribe so you don't miss our future shows. And then our Bitcoin Amigo show, which we're doing today in about 7 hours from now, 4 p.m. Eastern time every Friday. Jerry from Jerry Loves Freedom, Chris from Fractal Bitcoin, and myself. We just kind of formed one day in 2024, started doing a weekly show, and it's evolved into something pretty special, I would say. So very exciting. That's a lot of Bitcoin talk. Same kind of show as this with a live chat. All 3 of them have live chats, which I think is the most important part of this whole thing. Because again, when I was first getting into Bitcoin, I would have killed to be able to ask somebody questions. So there's a lot of stuff here, a lot of stuff to be excited about, a lot of stuff to talk about, and it never really seems to end. Lox Guy, good morning. Thank you for all the support lately. I very much appreciate it. Lox Guy has been giving out Bitcoin Journey memberships to a lot of people. There's like 5 and then 10 and then 5 yesterday again. So thank you, Lox Guy. Very, very much appreciated. And if you can't zap, that's a really good way to support the channel here is through the Bitcoin Journey. It's like $3 a month Canadian, which is like 5 cents American. Or definitely join Living the Future too. I think that's probably the most underrated thing you can do in Bitcoin. Sachi says, think of Tangem as a hot wallet or a daily slender wallet. It's not meant to store any kind of funds. It's meant to tap at a grocery store, pay in crypto, and go on with your day. Great advice. Yeah, that's the thing. Even with ledgers, Trezors, Tangems, like you don't have to have any sort of buyer's remorse for it. It was a step in your journey. You did the right thing. You learned your lesson. It might not be the best place to store your Bitcoin, but you don't necessarily have to throw it out. You can use it for, like Sachi says here, like a hot wallet or daily wallet. You can use it as a decoy wallet, like a Ledger, Trezor, Tangem. You can use any of those as a decoy wallet or whatever. You don't have to throw it out. Don't throw it in the garbage, but just don't store the majority of your Bitcoin on there. Keep your Bitcoin on like something air gapped, like 90% of it. Bear market 2022. Yes, that's when that was. American HODL will be running for Congress. I love American HODL. I would vote for him for sure. Will you be running for mayor? I don't think so. You never know, though. You never know. It depends on how a lot of things go. I don't really love the idea of getting wrapped up in the politics and that kind of bullshit. Just seems like a waste of time. But I wouldn't mind running for like a council here, and where you could actually make real change in your own community. I might do something like that. And you're not going to be all over the mainstream news and people outside your house and people slandering you. I do think that there's something to like a very local level for sure. Hey, Daniel got his mega king hat. The dark mega king hat. Let me see if I can find it here. There it is right there. Oh, hold on. Black charcoal. There it is. Look at this beauty. Look at this beauty hat. This is the black with charcoal king, the dark mega king hat. I wear this sometimes. This is similar to this hat. This is gray and gold though. But this is our NggGolf website. Pretty sharp. Actually, you know what? What should we do here? What should we do? We'll leave it for now. But this is knggolf.ca. If you want to check that out, if you're a golfer or you just like nice stuff, definitely check out knggolf.ca. That's where my little brother and me run a golf company. Our main product is custom leather head covers, but we got hats, hoodies, a bunch of stuff on there. So another good way to support the show if you're interested in that kind of stuff. Brennan says, yeah, the Canadian dollar is just like screwed. Which again, if you're a Bitcoiner, you're happy about it. Everything in my life is getting cheaper if you save in Bitcoin. Mr. Viz says, not sure if you mentioned it already, but I think the new Blockstream Jade Wall comes out today. Yeah, we were talking about that, but I didn't know it just came out today. I thought it was kind of already out there. But interesting. I'll be looking into that for sure. And maybe we'll get that one in the 88 sats bundle instead. Okay, so I got one more thing to talk about here before we end the show today. I got one more thing to talk about that, and that is do it for 100 days. So I was thinking about this yesterday, and I know there's been a lot of talk about the New Year's resolutions, and everybody's, at the gym now, everybody's eating good. Everybody's not drinking for the next couple months. Happens every year. And so what I did is I did a podcast and I posted it on the YouTube channel this week. It was called Rethink Your Resolutions. And I would suggest, if you're interested, check it out. It's like 20 minutes long, but it talks about how I took a much different approach to resolutions last year and how much success I had with that. Just my own journey and sharing it with you. And so basically the point of that was that you shouldn't be thinking about things 1 year at a time with your resolutions, with your goals. You shouldn't put a 1 year cap on it. What you can't do fuck all in 1 year. realistically. So I said, think of it more like a Bitcoin cycle. Every 4 years, that's when you can make actual change. If you got your direction, you show up every day, you give yourself a 4-year time frame, you'd be amazed at what you can accomplish. So that's one side of the aisle here. But the other thing, and going back to the 100 days, what I want to talk about today is that although you can't accomplish anything in a year, or especially 100 days, I do think that you can start building good habits. And so I want to talk about a couple different things here. The first one being earning sats. And so in 2024, we actually did a little contest, or not a contest. It was a initiative, I guess, where we had a spreadsheet. People could, for 100 days, we wanted to try to earn 100 sats per day. And again, you take 100 times 100 days, 100 sats. It's not much. It will be in 20 years from now, but today it's not much in terms of what you can buy with that. But that wasn't really the point. The point was to find different ways to earn Bitcoin and to build that into your daily routine, make it a habit. And I think that everybody who went through that, the 100 days, 100 sats for 100 days, is in a much better place right now. Not necessarily from the sats that they got from that, but they learned new resources, new skills. They had a focus on earning sats every day. And I'm sure, I don't know if, I can't say for certain here, but I think the majority of people who went through that are still doing the same thing today. And if you compound that over a year, 5 years, 10 years of earning sats every day, that's how you make put a real dent in the world. And so that's kind of my challenge for you. Start the year, everybody's excited, everybody's feeling hyped. So that's my challenge for you is for 100 days, just create your own spreadsheet and track it every day. The nice thing about the group that we did is that there was some accountability there. You saw other people doing it. You wanted to keep your streak going. And so it might not work as well just individually. And maybe we'll look at doing a community one again sometime in the future within Living the Future. But that's my challenge to you is just every day, start earning sats, whether that's through Fountain, through ZBD, through ShakePay, through Fold, through playing solitaire on NOSTR, Zapstream, whatever it is. But try to earn 100 sats a day for 100 days and build that into your life. Make it a habit. And the other part I want to talk about that in terms of the 100 sats for 100 days is that I know there's a lot of people out there who have a goal of getting to 1 Bitcoin. And if you look at it today and you say, okay, I want to get to 1 Bitcoin, whatever you have, let's say you have 10, 20 million sats, that's a very high mountain to climb. Because you can do some very simple math in your head and say, okay, well, I need to convert somehow $80,000, or depending on how much you have, but let's say even $75,000. I need to earn that, and I need to convert that into Bitcoin, and that's going to get me to 1 Bitcoin. But I want you to think about things a little bit differently here. And this is what I started doing a couple of years ago, and I think that it's paid off pretty well for me. And I'm not saying I have 1 Bitcoin. I'm not saying I'm close or I'm over or how much I have. And I'm never going to tell anybody how much Bitcoin I have. But this is something I put into practice a couple of years ago, and it has got me a lot further in terms of how much Bitcoin I have, for sure. So if you think about earning $1 million in fiat, and you think about how long that takes and how much of a mountain that is for you to climb. And so if you compare it to sats, and if you have the same thesis and theory as me that one day 1 sat is going to equal $1, it's much easier to earn sats every day. So I was going to do a little spreadsheet here, but I don't know if we necessarily need to. So what I would say to you is just try to keep earning and buying and getting to 1 million sats. Make that your focus. Try to get to 1 million sats as often as you can. And where I'm going with this is if you make that your goal to try to earn 1 million sats through free Bitcoin from Fountain, from ZBD, from things like that, plus you take how much you make every day. Let's say you make $200 at your job and your expenses are about $150. That's $50 every day that you can put into Bitcoin. So that's like 50,000 sats per day that you can be earning if you're looking at it through this lens. So you got the free rewards, you're converting your value, your time, your energy into Bitcoin through fiat or earning Bitcoin. But you just focus on getting 1 million sats. And then you do that 100 times. It doesn't seem nearly as insurmountable when you look at it that way, because it's not that hard to get 1 million sats. It's very hard to get $1 million, almost impossible. But it's not that hard to get 1 million sats. Again, through earning, consistency, adding value, either in your fiat job or whatever you do, converting that to Bitcoin. It's not that hard to get to 1 million sats. And all you have to do is do that 100 times. And you have 1 Bitcoin. So don't think of this as like an insurmountable task. It's possible. It's very doable. You just have to approach it the right way. And you have to understand the importance of compounding, importance of consistency, and showing up every day and adding as much value as you possibly can to people's lives and converting that into Bitcoin. So it's doable. Just think about it like that. Try to get to 1 million sats as often as you can and do that 100 times. So day to day, if you look at your day, you could say, okay, well, I'm going to earn 100 sats today on Fountain. I'm going to earn 50 sats on ZBD. I'm going to share some posts on NOSTR. Maybe I make 1,000 sats from that. I'm going to take the money I earn, the excess from my job, convert that into Bitcoin. Maybe that's 20,000, maybe 50,000. But that adds up quicker to 1 million, much faster than fiat. And if you understand the flippening that's happening here, the sats are actually going to be worth more than the dollars. So you just have to change your perspective here, your mindset, and how you approach things every day. So get to 1 million sats and do it 100 times, and you have 1 Bitcoin. It's not a cheat code. It's not magic. It's just how you approach day to day. There you go. We got Adam or Lori or both. So I still earn at least 100 sats a day. So Adam was one of the people who was in the 100 sats for 100-day challenge. And that's what I'm talking about here. You're not doing it to get to a certain milestone in your sats or your purchasing power. You're doing it to build habits every day. And if you do something for 100 days, whatever that is, I feel like you turn that into a habit. BitBilly, look at that. This was the fattest zap. I gave you a shout out at the start of the show, BitBilly, to start the show today. But again, BitBilly with the highest zap in history yesterday, 60,000 sats. So, I mean, if you're trying to earn 1 million, 60,000 gets you quite a ways in that. So thank you once again, BitBilly. That was fucking awesome. Another frog says, I do earn 1,000 sats per day thanks to ShakePay and BTC Miner. So think about how long it takes to do 1,000 sats a day. How it doesn't take very long to get to 1 million, and you just do that 100 times. So you earn as much as you can for free through incentives like ShakePay, like Fountain, like ZBD, and then you convert all of your excess fiat into Bitcoin and just try to get to 1 million sats and just do that 100 times. But don't try to do it in a year or two. Like, think about this from the long term and build your life, your own personal system and process where you can do that every day. Not that hard, right? Captain Codeman says, if you have a company, do a mini MicroStrategy and buy it as a corporate treasury. Yes. In the future, you can pay yourself in Bitcoin. Plus, the other nice thing about that, and a lot of people are sleeping on this right now, is you're going to have so much leverage with that. You're going to be able to buy the best assets. You're going to be able to hire the best staff because your company's worth a lot more. Your expenses, everything's going to get cheaper over time, individually and for a corporation or a company. So yeah, it makes total sense. Okay, well, we're going to give away some Bitcoin here from Bitcoin Well, and then we're going to call it a day because we got a meeting in 9 minutes and we're going to talk to somebody about super backed. The super way to encrypt your private key. And I do want to play Fat Zap Friday again before we leave here because it's my favorite song. So we'll get this done. Wishing well. Oh, I haven't been topped up yet. Son of a gun, Bitcoin well. Okay, get your Lightning wallets out. BitBelly, George the best on the web. We might be stretching that a bit, but we're working on it. So here we go. Ready to go? Get your phone out, get your Lightning wallet out, point it at the screen, press send, and hopefully you win some sats. Hopefully we get a big one today. Ready? Set? Go. $210. Our wish did not come true. But that's okay. We'll take 210 sats. That's you're well on your way to 1 million, your first 1 million sats, and then you just do that 100 times. But this 210 sats, it's one start. You sign up for Bitcoin Well, bitcoinwell.com/Jor. If you want some more sats for your 1 million, you sign up. You get 5 free tosses into the Bitcoin Wishing Well, which is a minimum of probably just over 1,000 sats. So these are the things you got to look for, and you have to take advantage of this stuff while you can. I think that's the last part I wanted to say on that, is that these incentives, the ability to stack sats easily, won't always be here. And this is a perfect example. Bitcoin Well, last week, the minimum was 500 sats. Today, now, the minimum is 210 sats, cut in half. And so there's no sense in waiting for like a better opportunity to be buying and earning and getting free sats. Like, you need to be doing it today, because it's always going to get harder and harder to do. But you guys know that. I'm just hoping that, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not trying to like motivate you to do anything here. I'm just hoping that, to spark some different ideas. That's kind of my whole purpose of the show, honestly, is to move away from the fiat system and to give you ideas for your future, for whatever you want to do. And so I might say the same thing 10 times, but it might be the 9th or idea in your life. And that's kind of the point of it. So here, once again, the Bitcoin Amigos Friday stream, the Bangin' Friday shows. And a lot of people from the community here show up to that every week. So I want to say thank you for that. And the Bitcoin Amigos show and reach is growing. We're on YouTube, obviously. We're on NOSTR. We're on Twitter. We're on Rumble. Look at this. Look at that nice thumbnail that Chris made for the Bitcoin Amigos. You notice anything with this thumbnail? 1, 2, 3. We look like monks. And when I say we, if you look closely at the faces there, it's the Amigos. Well, the Amigos that are on the camera anyways, but as the boys like to say, we are all Bitcoin Amigos. So make sure if you're not subscribed over there, do it if you want to. And check out the show today. It's scheduled for 3 p.m. my time, 4 p.m. Eastern time. And let's be the first comment today. So put it in your calendar. And that's it. So thank you one more time to Paul for the super chat today. Thank you to all the zaps that came in today and yesterday. The fattest zap in history, 60,000 sats. 4,200 from Letha, 88 sats from Boss, 1,000 from Timber Crasher, 121 from Spaceman, 3,000 from Ian, and a couple more 1,000 on Zapstream. Ahsoka, Plunger, and I don't know if I missed any there or not. I think I missed one anonymous one. But anyways, I very much appreciate it, everybody. So have yourselves a great day. Hopefully we'll see you a little bit later on for the Bitcoin Amigos show. And if not, I hope you have a great weekend. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a part of this whole thing, and enjoy yourself. We only get like 4,000 Fridays in life, so don't waste any of it. We'll see you later on, or we'll see you first thing Monday morning. Bye-bye.